willing executioners because nobody can say no because it means their family and not someone else's family. But the idea that the government always comes out and, like the true narcissist abusers that they are, because is it going to be hate speech? Where's the camera? Trump is a narcissistic, psychotic abuser, period. He is what he accuses everyone else of being, and that's what narcissists do. They are the evil, they're the racist, misogynist bigots who then accuse other people of being the bigots. Imagine, I'm going to get enraged. There's doctors in here in case I have a heart attack. The man invites a Nazi into the White House and then makes it our learning moment. It's embarrassing for Canadians. No, you are embarrassing for Canadians. And then, no, and it's like his act of absolute historical illiteracy, overt intolerance and hatred becomes my learning lesson. Go to hell, Trump. Now, does that become hate speech? Like it's the man. And I've got the litany of all of them. This man, you all know this. 2 times ethics breaching, 3 times accused. Apologized for groping a reporter back in the day. Had so many pictures of blackface that the media that he was subsidizing, never released, although they had access to this years before it finally broke. He's going to accuse me of misogyny, racism, anti-Semitism, extremism. Go to hell, trust it. There's no other.
Hey, unindoctrinated today, Claiborne.
There's no children in the crowd. GFSY, Trudeau. But the idea that they come in and they say, we're doing it for your own good, we're doing it for your own protection, you can't trust yourself with guns. And meanwhile, you get the police chief of York saying, they're coming, they're robbing you, put your keys at the front door, they've got guns, they're loaded, they're not toy guns, but you don't get them. So they enact these laws for your own protection because we can't be trusted. They have to take care of us. It's the Kamala Harris and the Daddy Joe Biden phenomenon. And pitch these things as for the greater good. And when they say for the greater good, they really mean for their greater good. Bottom line, who would have thought? Back in the day, I'm not old enough to remember, but I'm old enough to remember remembering. They called Reagan an extremist. They attacked his mental acuity. They called him too dumb for the office. Now, I won't get into whether or not Reaganomics and he was the best president ever. He certainly wasn't Joe Biden. And I don't mean that in a good way. But, for all of his stupidities, as they accused him of, he said some damn good things. I don't know if this one is only to him, it might have been Mark Twain, that freedom is never one generation away from extinction. I've lived it now. I was born, I think I was free. I might not have been, it might have just been an illusion of freedom. I was born in an era where I could run through people's backyards and not worry about getting arrested. We could make prank calls and not worry about getting canceled. If anybody heard the prank calls we made, I might get retroactively canceled 30 years later. But, I think I was born free. And I know what my kids were born into, or raised in, because they were born pre-COVID. But it's not freedom. It's the exact opposite. It's not a world that a kid should have to grow up in or think is normal. But now I lost my train of thought. It was the born free. And we're living right now through basically total control in all aspects. And this law is going to get passed. If it gets passed, you cannot understand the ramifications of what will happen. It's not an if, it's a when, and it's a how bad. And we're seeing it in the States. We're seeing the weaponization of opaque laws. Not to make it about Trump, but we're seeing what happens when you have government who have control the levers of everything. Media, to some extent, at least working in collusion. They are. And this is what happens in the States, this is what happens in Canada. They control prosecution, the justice system. It was Yuri Bezmenov. Everybody's heard that speech. It's how it happens, and we're at the stages now where I can actually look back and say, I think I was born free, and I know that I'm not as free now as I was when I was born. And is that progress? It's not progress, it's actually regression. And so you have, it's for our own goods. It's...
That's nuts.
The punchline. I'm going to give you the punchline is this. I told you it wasn't going to be a black pill. There's going to be a white pill. It happens slowly, then all at once. It's not only true of the bad.
I was waiting for MCC to come in here. He's got some weird news. I'm sure he's going to post about it.
Look, that was my deep thought of the night last night. It might just be something as trivial as the pendulum swings back eventually. But the bottom line, the slow seeds eventually put into something. People have the misconception that bamboo grows overnight. and it doesn't. It takes months or years for the
Hey, Dirty.
system to be in place so that it can support what people perceive to be the overnight growth. And so it happens slowly, then all at once, both for good and for bad. And I think we're seeing the for good now as well. I think now, living in retrospect, it goes back to 2016 when they said, can you believe they actually?
So MCC's got some news
I'm gonna screen grab that, Viva,
over his visit to Bryan,
you know, the
Ohio.
The OK gesture is a symbol of hate.
Remember where when
Another example.
Tater Tot got arrested, and he got arrested for recording from the sidewalk, and then immediately released.
Because we didn't suppress politicized speech on Facebook. I'm paraphrasing the headlines, but I had to go back and refresh my memory. This blew open in 2015, 2016. Not in 2020, but this is when people had their big awakening. Yeah, that's sort of when I started having mine, but I didn't really say anything about it for another couple of years.
A summons in the mail.
Got elected because Facebook didn't do a good enough job suppressing politicized speech. It allowed for radicalization of people. What they effectively said is free speech got Trump elected. Exchange of ideas got the populist president elected. And what are they doing now? Across the world, not just in Canada. They described it in the Time magazine article from 2020. A secret cabal controlling laws, changing regulations, controlling the flow of information, controlling perceptions. But they weren't rigging the election, they were fortifying it. I mean, back when Noam Chomsky was sane, this would have been called manufacturing consent. What they are doing right now is this on steroids, because it's been my pitch and my bone to pick for a long time. The internet is the last bastion of freedom of speech in the iteration of technology that we have right now. Back in the day, the printing press threatened the powers that be, control the printing press. And then you get the internet, and then lo and behold, what happens when you have the free flow of ideas on the internet? The propagandists, they don't just die due to lack of demand. They get exposed, and it's been exposed. The corruption, the insidious, incestuous relationship between media and government, financial and political, has been exposed, and it's been exposed because
Yay, found it.
the modern day critics, what do they have to do? Everything they can to suppress that right now. Online Streaming Act.
Yeah, I saw those
Censorship bill, not so disguised
streams. I'll have to pop in there.
Is a not so disguised.
I didn't watch them yet. I slept in a little bit because I was waiting for another part to go out. I got to go back out to detox again tonight. That's why me and the wife went to. We did date night last night because I got to be out at detox tonight. Hopefully it won't take long though. I got to train my replacement in Monroe today.
The People's Party of Canada. Maxime Bernier is the. When people ask me if I trust politicians, I don't trust any politician.
Yeah, it was too early for me. 3 o'clock, and then the other one was at 5 o'clock.
And now, I know some Trump fans. I like Trump, and I have my gripes with some policies of Trump, and it's not a lack of trust. It's that when I look at Maxime Bernier, and I knew what the media told me of him before I knew what I actually learned of him. He's a man who takes politically unpopular positions despite their political unpopularity, which I think is the telltale sign of an honest politician. Which might be
I'm being replaced in Monroe. I'm going to be in Toledo now. I'll talk about it when I get back. I'll be back.
Politics is not a place for honest people any more than the practice of law is a place for honest people. So, they're doing it right now, and they're not just doing it in Canada. They're doing it in the States. They're trying to import the ideas of banning hate speech. Why? Because Quebec. I don't know if it passed yet, but they're putting forward a bill that would make it illegal to harass politicians. First of all, I thought there were already criminal harassment laws in place, and politicians are not more special than John Smith from down the street. What they want to do, and they're doing it everywhere, is criminalize political discourse and then transform random gestures into perceived political hate so they can demonize people, write them off, suppress them, and control thought and politics. They're doing it in Canada, they're doing it in the States, they've done it in China for a long time, they're doing it in Russia, they're doing it in France, Brazil. What we're witnessing, you all remember that GIF, and it's the guy, he puts a little domino and it pushes the bigger domino, and it's called Momentum. If you haven't seen it, it's cool, it's a GIF on the internet. It's a video also. And it ends up, from a little domino, ends up pushing down a massive marble slate. When Trump started getting these indictments, when one judge acted batshit crazy and did something totally judicially corrupt, it didn't serve as a deterrence to others, it served as a motivation. And what we're witnessing right now is a similar form of political, legislative corruption from all these so-called free and democratic Western societies, where instead of lashing out and pushing back against the corruption, the Vladimir Putin level authoritarian corruption, they're leaning into it. And they're saying, well, France did it, Brazil did it, Canada's doing it, so hey, let's all do it. And you know what you have then? You don't have a government for the people and by the people. You have a government that is governing the people and ruling over them like the peasants that they think they are. And so the pushback starts somewhere, and it's got to start. I mean, look, never in a million years, would I think that Canada would have pushed me out, pushed me to Florida, made me look the way I looked when I was a rebellious 20-year-old. And never would I would be sitting on a stage. I don't know if this is fighting or just talking about free speech or just making people understand.
All right, I'm back.
They made me do this. They pushed me into this corner, extremist corner. You know, there's that other meme. It's like, who radicalized you? And it's the guy whispering back. Like, first of all, I'm not radical. And if thinking this is radical, then I want to be radical. But the bottom line is, we are seeing this momentum across the world, and it's not free, it's not democratic, it's not traditional Western values. It's actually the exact opposite, and people need to stop and call out that growth.
Well, I got a promotion. I mean, that's
racist, anti-Semitic.
I don't know why I wouldn't share that.
In Parliament and say it's not.
I didn't get a raise, but I got a promotion.
We're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. And the only way to do it, so nobody takes this out of context, it's the only way to do it is nonviolence, political, waking people up, and I adopted the strategy of public humiliation. They're not. Look, I have kids, they shouldn't swear. But
Yeah.
they're not beyond go fuck yourself. And when they do things that warrant them, Robert Barnes.
I mean, yeah, there was some negative things said during the meeting, but
I think he's quoting a guy named Roy Barnes, but I don't know who he's quoting. Sometimes you need to cuss the people that need cussing. And I'm a polite person. And I still think sometimes it is still polite to cuss the people that need cussing because they need to be shared.
well, a promotion, but no raise.
So,
The raise is commensurate with how I do. I don't know. Either way, I'm not sure if I'm going to be, by my choice, whether or not I'm going to continue doing this for too much longer. So this whole business, whole business is not what I was hired to do.
Despair is contagious. So don't despair. Do not resort to violence. And if they say speech is violence, or, well, they say silence is violence, so you're really stuck in a corner there, let them know and wake people up, because it's not for your own good. It's for their good. And it's not for your protection, it's for their protection. And in as much as I don't trust the Conservative Party to take down this law.
That's the thing, though. I'm not sure. I would like to just do the fucking IT work full time.
Of weakness, and you're in the minority, and then when you're in the position of power, you're like, what's this? They're using their freedom of speech to attack me. I don't like this anymore.
But they're happy paying me to do it part
So I
time,
don't trust them to do the right thing after the wrong thing has been done.
as long as I'm still able to do it. So I'm basically, after this week, I'm not going to give them as much attention or dedication, and I'm definitely not going to do any of that work. Oh. Shit. He didn't know what my secondary channel was. Okay, let me send it to him then. Not even like my secondary channel descriptions. There we go. There we go. MCC is going to come in here. Let me just send him a link real quick. mean, if you uploaded it, there should be a share button right there, Claiborne. As soon as you're done uploading, usually the share button pops right. Just copy the link and drop it in the text. Or I'll find your channel. Do that. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Sounds like you're muted. Oh, there it goes. There.
Vendors have to pay an extra $100 other than the cutoff fee, the connection fee.
I'm gonna start it over.
Welcome to land. You have entered chill zone. So today we're going to talk about a scam going on in your water companies.
Ooh, water
that
companies.
Most people may have never even thought of it. They're setting up your water bill as either a owner or a renter is set up completely different. Renters have to pay an extra $100 other than the cutoff fee, the connection fee. And the owners do not. They're just charged the connection, the cutting the water off fees. And they're being pretty good on that.
Hey, JC.
The owners issues. They're pretty good with them. But I think they're really scamming.
That's fucking cheap for bison, man.
They're scamming. The extra $100.
That's cheaper than ground beef in a lot of places.
That company, in case that party does not pay their last bill. Now, what happened at their last month's bill? And they didn't pay it, and they moved on to another somewhere else. This vendor that was renting moved on, and they didn't pay that last payment that was coming to that address. And it was only like $32. So that company would automatically take that bill out of that $100. But they would also keep the rest. They would keep it because you don't get the renter doesn't get that back.
Yeah, it looks good, man. Fucking bison for fucking $4.99 a pound.
So therefore, that water company just earned the rest of the amount.
Oh, fuck. Where did I say it?
The bill.
Oh, it's for the wrong account.
Here's another aspect. What if the payer, renter, pays his last month bill at that address and leaves? Moves on somewhere else. They never lived in that. They doesn't live there. They move somewhere else, that water company would automatically get to keep that $100. Could you imagine that going on as widespread? I mean, the water company in this county is almost set up on renters.
You should actually have loan insurance that should be covered
Yeah.
due to the condition, shopper.
Check your water company.
I'd give them a call and just see. Because the government will just take your shit,
What
man.
they're doing with that $100, because the renter is already told that money will not come back. That is, just give it to them.
Well, that's the Rebel News part of the Rumble live stream today. Rebel News will be carrying all of the segments you see today at rumble.com/Rebel News. But as I mentioned, we have so many other Rumble creators doing their live shows here too, so you're really in for a treat. This next fella is a Canadian with a big heart, and I saw the pain in his heart. I could feel it through the screen as he saw his beloved country, especially his city of Montreal, which was one of the most locked down places in the world. They literally had a curfew whether you were sick or not, whether you were jabbed or not. A curfew, like you were in prison, locked down. The word heretofore only used for prison riots. And I saw him reach into his heart, also his mind, because he's a clever and sophisticated lawyer.
You don't sound terrible.
Kind of legal analysis that you certainly didn't hear from the mainstream media. May I introduce to you the man I'm not only a friend, but an ally in the same mission for freedom. He's based in the U.S. now, where he has an even larger audience, teaming up with Robert Barnes, outstanding constitutional lawyer. Without further ado, will you join me in welcoming, for his portion of today's Rumble broadcast, a dear friend, David Freiheit, a.k.a. Viva Fry. Over to David.
I've got two phones. The mic is working. I got two phones. One works, and the other one is for my notes. Both serenity prayer on the back of them, which I'm not a religious man or a recovering alcoholic yet, but it is God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And the reason why I've got it twice is I cannot remember the serenity prayer in time. I'm supposed to be living by it. It's still morning. Good morning, everyone. I was going to do this standing up, but I'll just sit down. It's more comfortable. So for those who don't know me, I didn't always look like this. I used to be normal, but I started with that joke, and I'm trying to picture it back when I was 18, 19, playing squash at McGill, and I looked like this. And so there's a cycle of life. You know, the hair grows to represent how you feel at the time, fit into society, and then you realize you want to fit into society. But for those who don't know who I am actually a former litigator. So I practiced for, sworn in 2007, and I practiced for a good 13 years. And I did a little bit, I did commercial litigation, civil litigation, no family, no criminal, no tax. That was basically what I worked at a very big law firm, and then left after my first kid because I realized that wasn't the life I wanted. started on my own and then did it on my own for another 7 years and realized that was the life I didn't want. But the anecdote is, and it's
One more tree rat gone.
It's not going to be a black pill.
The world won't miss
It's
them.
going to sound like it at first. If there's a white pill, happy ending. I did a bit of bankruptcy, and everybody knows the expression "hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." Hell hath no fury like a lawyer unpaid, because I won't get into the details of the file. It was my foray into bankruptcy. A lawyer who knew all of the tricks of the trade in bankruptcy, who didn't get paid by my clients, took him through the ringer. And don't need to get into that. It was a traumatizing experience in terms of what lawyers can do. But the expression in bankruptcy is things happen slowly, then all at once. And it is not just an analogy for bankruptcy. It's sort of an analogy also for what I call moral bankruptcy. It's an analogy for how things fall apart. You get used to certain faults, you get used to certain problems, and then one day something cataclysmic happens and you say, who could have seen it's coming? It happens in bankruptcy business, it happens in marriages, where the cataclysmic event is something which is actually just a symptom of a series of problems that have built up over time. Laying this into what we are living through right now, I never wanted to be political, period. I had my silly YouTube channel back in 2014 when it had squirrels and GoPros and tobogganing. I never wanted to touch politics. It wasn't because I wasn't interested in it. I realize now I knew absolutely nothing at the time as to how bad things could actually be. But I never wanted to touch politics, but I had the leans. Then I got forced into it because, like, I'm going to say some Greek philosophers, it might have been Plato, Socrates, if you don't take an interest in politics, politics will still take an interest in you. And things happen slowly, then all at once. 2020 and this flipping pandemic, and I almost want to call it a plandemic, and not because I don't believe there were issues, that there were health issues, but because I believe whatever health issues there were might have been either exaggerated, human caused, and or definitively weaponized. and so people seem to forget, like, 2018 was one of the worst flu seasons ever. I think in the States between 60 and 80,000 people died. Toronto was shutting down hospitals because overwhelming the healthcare facilities. Had to cancel elective surgeries. That was happening pre-repackaging potentially of COVID. And I'm not going to spend the whole time here like what my conspiratorial thoughts are on COVID. I don't even think I'm that cynical yet to understand what actually went down. But the bottom line, COVID hits, the world as we knew it is upended, and then people like, holy hell, how do they have the powers to do this? And at the time, I remember I never even knew of this thing called the quarantine act. Maybe because I'm an idiot, and I never, I should have known because we had a pandemic back in 1906, and they had this old book on the books called the Quarantine Act, which was revamped relatively recently in advance of this. Nobody noticed because nobody used it. And revamped, if anybody read the powers that the Quarantine Act granted to the government, it would blow your freaking mind. And it blew mine when I was like, oh, in 2020, we've got this Quarantine Act. It allows the government to lock you down. It allows the government to do things which we never would have thought could have ever been done, period. But it's on the books. Then you have people at the time emailing me, texting me, they say, Peter, did you see what the Quebec government slipped in under the radar? There's an amendment, or there's this law that allows for mass vaccination. And they sent me this provision of law. When I read this law, I'm like, holy crap, they slipped it in under the radar. Punchline, they didn't. It's a 23-year-old law. And I'm reading this provision where people are saying this is new, look what the government's doing under our very noses. And it says, can force mass vaccination of the entire society or whatever group for monkeypox. Remember, because if this was passed during COVID, why would they be referencing monkeypox?
Yeah, I got to train the new guy that's going to be up here in Monroe.
That law had been on the books, at least that provision, since 2001. And so this cataclysmic destruction of free society, which we've seen metastasize at an exponential rate as of COVID, it's been in the works for decades. And it's, if you're new to the channel, you'll love it. If you're old to the channel, I say this over and over again. It's Kierkegaard, life can only be understood backwards, but must be looked forwards. You now look back and you see the groundwork that the government was laying by way of
orange sodas.
For decades. And we never realize it because it never impacts us until it does, and by that time, it's too late. So you start with COVID, and then everyone's like, holy cows, this is too much. But then you go back and you realize this has been going on for years. And you go back to censorship. And what we're seeing right now in terms of what we're here for, which is protesting this Online Harms Act, the so-called Online Harms Act, which is about online harms about as much as the border bill that they tried to pass in the States was about the border. It's like, all right, here's $2 billion for the border, and here's $60 billion to fund our foreign proxy war. We'll call it the border bill so we can slip in the total control so that people don't even notice it. The censorship Online Harms Act, what they're trying to push through now, and I was talking with Ezra earlier, and I thought I respect his legal mind more than mine. I was sort of a little optimistic again. If you go to my Twitter feed, the banner should still be Lily Tomlin, no matter how cynical you are, it's hard to keep up. I'm saying, okay, well, this bill's not going to get passed, but they might try what they did with Bill C-10 to C-11, the Online Streaming Act. Try to jam it through, shift the Overton window, let it die, and then take up the debate again, but with the new perspective that, oh, well, we went this far the last time, so we can start a little bit further with our negotiations this time. Ezra's a little more pessimistic and thinks that this actually stands a reasonable chance of passing. This online harms bill, which seeks to do nothing more than criminalize speech, but not speech that deserves to be criminalized, because I've said it before, and I said it when I had two other panels at the CSFN, the Canada Strong and Free. Not to criminalize speech that's not already criminal. We already have the criminal laws that we need for threats, intimidation, doxing, revenge porn, to take some of the examples. It's criminalizing speech that's not already criminalized. It's criminalizing opaque speech that has no definition of any meaning or of any enforcement value. I appreciate the Supreme Court defined hatred as, I'll pull up the definition of my one because I'm concerned about it. It's ridiculous. Detestation, vilification, but not mere mockery or humiliation. Good. I appreciate the Supreme Court, which sometimes, as we've seen, is arguably an activist court, can come up with definitions which are themselves more problematic than problem solving. That's where legislation comes in to resolve the issue, not ratify the issue. And so this bill, Online Harms Bill, which is going to define hatred, impose penalties that are cruel and unusual. I don't care if it's the potential, the mere potential for life imprisonment for promoting or advocating genocide. I dare ask, what the hell does that even mean? Misgendering, some people take to be genocide. From the river to the sea, some people take to mean genocide. So it's not even clear that people thinking about this or opposing it, supporting it, or even really reflecting on it. But it's weaponizing of language, it's weaponizing of thought for the purposes of being politically exploited. So where does it go back? It goes back years. It goes back to Bill C-60, which was adding
I'm gonna send a message through my why the fuck?
which was adding gender identity. Okay, fine.
Alright, let me fix this. got behind a fucking gravel hauler for the first time in weeks on this freeway. It's in the wrong lane. That's the chopper we know and love. I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to none of you motherfuckers. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Well, you do hear the little tick, tick, tick of me hitting bugs, though. Fortunately, those aren't chipping my windshield even worse. No, I just went out. I was going to do poker last night, but then I realized I had to go to the detox tonight, so we did date night last night. We went out. Chopper inspired me to go out and get barbecue. So I went and got some brisket. Didn't look nearly as good as his. Later, CCT. That was some fucking, I mean, that's a lot of barbecue too, man. I could eat on that for days. Yeah, I didn't even want to send a picture of mine because it was disappointing compared to his. Yeah, I know. He's been doing pretty well. He's about to win a hat and a bag of coffee, too. It looked like he had a couple slabs, some brisket. Man, my mouth was watering when I looked at that picture. Oh, chill. I'm not going to run into the fucking mail person. Yeah, it was. I thought he asked for the link to my backup channel. I sent it to him. He's probably busy. Yeah, it was pretty messed up. I mean, you guys saw it. He did nothing illegal. I mean, apparently they didn't even send anything for Tater Tot. Yet, anyway. Oh, is it that time of the week? Time for a shower? Once a week, whether you need it or not, right? Oh yeah, sure they can. Like I said, I wasn't going to go into it because he sent it to me, messaged it to me. I'm sure he's going to do a post about it or something. It's ridiculous. The charge is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not going to say what it is, but it is a secondary charge. It got bleached. Got chlorinated. We don't use chlorine in ours. We use peroxide. It's a peroxide drip. Like a high percentage. What is it, like, I don't know, 15 or 7% peroxide. It's I mean, it still kind of has a sulfur smell to it, but and it's very hard. We don't use any salt though. We don't soften the water at all because we don't usually drink the well water. But we do use it. Well, I guess we use it for coffee, but it's just for, bathing and washing and clothes. Hell yeah, hon. Enjoy your time off grid. Yeah, that's what I figured. It's practically boiling water, so, and I use a Keurig, so it superheats it in small doses.
Central 1586.
All right, Robert Gouveia is live.
It was a busy week indeed. Looks like we're live over on the YouTubes. Locals is coming in. Hey, that was quick. All right. It's like we're connected. It's a beautiful Friday, my friends. And I hope your week was incredible. Hopefully all of the items on your to-do list, most of them, if it's okay if you still have one or two left to knock out, I might. And your email inbox is looking amazing. You're feeling like all of your inboxes are just cleared out. You're getting ready to mark the week off as a success and celebrate the weekend ahead. But we're not done yet.
I think my youngest son is supposed to be coming over Sunday for Mother's Day.
They were waking up this morning.
That's his mom. His real mom is in Maine right now.
They're waking up. It's Friday. It's been a busy week. They look over and they realize Stormy is in their case. They go, oh, what have I done? I made a huge mistake. I better go get checked. They're looking over at her. They're like, I promised I was never going to do that again, and here I am. So we got some clips on that one. Now Stormy's very excited, very happy.
Could be lots of dogs. He's got 2 dogs himself.
The most action she's got in some time.
Pity mix.
And she is
More jerky.
So
Yeah, I'll have to go out and get
she took
some
this
beef,
one
but
a couple
yeah.
days ago outside the courtroom. I think they just
Yeah, I'm due to make another batch.
in DeAngelis law offices. I guess that's her lawyer.
I'm gonna make burnt ends though too.
Excited. Hey, can I get a selfie with you, Stormy? She's like, sure. Another
I'm
one.
gonna make some burnt ends. I'm gonna do some garlic.
So she's doing that, right? She's pretty excited about this. Kind of
Garlic
gloating,
chicken.
doing her little pose there, and she also posted.
My
this
mother-in-law is gonna come too. It's gonna be an earlier one though. She's gonna be there around noon.
Who's
I think she has plans.
Your Honor, she's done testifying.
What are burnt
Finished
ends?
with her. So can
You're kidding,
we talk
right?
about her? Can we have our gag order lifted so that Trump can actually communicate about this witness, since she's no longer going to be called? She's not going to be intimidated, right, or threatened or harassed or whatever. She's not. Here, she posted this. It says, real men respond.
It's the best
to
part of
testimony by
barbecue.
being sworn in and taking the stand in court. What? Oh, wait. Never mind, says Stormy. What are you talking about, weirdo? It's called the Fifth Amendment. Hello? Does she understand what that means? There's no like.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's basically beef brisket, but it's the good
again,
the
she
tip,
can
the
talk,
little
she can gloat,
the best
she
parts
can
of it.
needle Trump after her testimony, but Donald Trump can
Big fatty, big chunk of fat on it, and a little cube of brisket.
Take a little journey down media hangover lane and see what we've got. We got a bunch of clips, and they're all the ones that say she did a good job. You can just tell are mad coke. And we also have this clip. I'll give you a little content warning coming up. We got a little time until we get here. James Carville just melts down, right? He's lost it. He's like effing screaming. We've lost. He's like, you stick around for this one, because he says basically my whole existence is meaningless. I'm not joking. It's just wild, and that's what happens when you're.
I don't know who told you that.
Communist ideals. It's not really.
That I mean, part of it may be the front there, but that's
supports humanity.
no, brisket is the bomb.
The nature of humanity and the fabric of the universe.
Smoked for hours.
So that is James Carville. We're going to come back on that one, but let's see what is.
I got my pit barrel. I'm gonna drag that out of the garage if I can get to it.
And you can see, I think Mrs. Albert Einstein was out here, and you can see this was very much what I call got another content warning. So just if you're worried about this, this is called the nuts and sluts defense. What? It says, watch, Law of Ruby's going to break this down, and here's what their analysis sounds like over on MSNBC.
You know, our viewers all the time, Chris and Andrea, I sat through 2 E. Jean Carroll trials and 2 cross-examinations of E. Jean
I'm
Carroll.
gonna have to look that up, 'cause I don't-
I agree with Sue wholeheartedly.
It's part of the
This is
tri-tip.
very much what I call a nuts
Pork
and
ribs, yeah,
sluts
pork ribs are
defense.
delicious.
This portion of the cross-examination where Susan Neckles was focused on the fact that Stormy Daniels now claims that she is a medium and that she communicates with dead people and has participated in a TV series about the paranormal, where she explores things, including the fact that at one point an ex-boyfriend of hers was inhabited by spirits.
Oh,
She
geez.
was mocking Stormy Daniels. She wants the jury to think Stormy Daniels is a liar and she is crazy. And
She is.
also
We didn't hear that in the testimony. We heard a little bit of that in the excerpts. There was just a little blurb about a possum and stuff. And I think part of that was about they thought that their house was possessed, something. And
No, it's the shoulder basically,
in their house, this aberrations.
the top of the shank.
Turns out it was a possum.
It's not the neck.
Just kind of, tucked away up there under the floorboards
Look.
or something. Yeah, okay.
wants the jury
Brisket.
to judge her for her occupation, and Stormy Daniels gave no ground on that. As Sue just said, she might be an exotic dancer, an adult film actor, but
Porn
she
star.
is very clear. When Susan Neckles used the phrase "selling yourself" to describe what Stormy Daniels was doing on a tour where she was making appearances at clubs, Stormy Daniels said her Okay, I was not selling myself. I was dancing. The implication always was, I am not a sex worker, and I don't have a sign around my neck that says consent given freely to everyone at any time. She was a woman who seemed pretty self-possessed, in control of her own body, and wanting to maintain.
You mean the
essentially,
oxtail?
woman, I say who, I say when, and not, you know, Donald Trump was mine.
I mean, the tongue is the tongue. Beef tongue. I used to eat that when I was a kid.
She is clearly selling her body, selling access to her body. That's what people go to.
The tongue is usually one of the cheapest parts of the cow.
Story, okay, those cops who had Stormy's jugs floating all over them. No, stop! This is so people. Stop! All of that, you know.
Hello.
Hi, Norm. This is Rachel over at Call Tracking Metrics. I got your voicemail and wanted to give you a follow-up call regarding your port.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So I see you stated that you were a part of the Legends Recovery Center.
Yes.
And just...
I'm the IT person there. Yeah.
And I just want to confirm the account ID for the...
I'm driving right now.
No worries.
Yeah.
Is there a better time to reach out? We can...
Maybe in about 15 minutes. I'll be able to pull it up.
So I have a meeting in the next half hour.
Okay.
Can I maybe do it from an hour from now?
That's fine.
1 Eastern?
That's fine.
Sick for her. Because
Yeah, she wants me to docs.
sick for her. Because
Yeah, she wants me to docs our account number. No.
I would have made it up.
I could have pulled it up, but I was like, no, I'll wait.
So
I'm not straight.
Making it up, and so you maybe toned it.
I don't want to
down
do it while
so
I'm
it
driving
doesn't
anyway,
sound
because
so
I want to write
ridiculous,
down the things she
right?
says.
Nobody would believe you if it was ridiculous.
We've been trying to
Nobody
port
would
a
believe
number
you.
from another our 800 number into call tracking metrics, so we can, you know, track marketing and sales on it and where the calls are coming from.
Everyone believes that. Everyone believes a kind of a benign story. It's basically, you know, there's no details to it. So it's such a stupid thing. And these weird people are like, yeah, because they think this is, you know, celebrity deathmatch or something like that. And I don't know what this person Sue is going to add into that. Hopefully she takes her fork out of the electrical socket and gets back to neutral current. And saying I maybe basically I gave some thought and consideration to making a plausible story. Wild. All right, so that was one clip. Now you can see other people like Eli Honig. He'll sometimes drop the truth from time to time, and I actually haven't listened to these clips, so we're gonna go through them together. But CNN panel, seeing baffled, you know, he comes out. Let's see what he said.
Boss exam, boy, her responses were disastrous. I mean, do you hate Donald Trump? Yes, of course she does. That's a big deal. When the witness hates the person whose liberty is at stake, that's a big damn deal. And she's putting out tweets, fantasizing about him being in jail. That really undermines credibility. The fact that she owes him $500,000, she, by order of a court, owes Donald Trump $500,000 and said, I will never pay him. I will defy a court order. The defense is going to say she's willing to defy a court order. Why? She's not willing to respect an order of a judge. Why is she doing this oath she took?
That's so weird that there's actually a guard to enter this high school.
It was a disaster. It was so bad, that's why they didn't bring in Karen McDougal. If this was a home run,
see that there's a guard gate at this high school.
Intending to bring her, and that means their case is going to wrap up a lot more quickly than we thought, right? You know, Karen McDougal is probably be another day, maybe 2 days of testimony, so that's half of a week in terms of trial time. So now they've just decided to nuke her because it was a disaster. They're going to do the same thing with her. You're a Playboy bunny. Okay, you've done films too. Okay, you also have booby tassels. Great. So what's your story? You also wanted money. Oh, you wanted to be on Dancing with the Stars. So you got Stormy who wants to go on The Apprentice. You got the other one who wants to go on Dancing with the Stars. It's all just it's a joke. So they now had to get rid of her because it
you see that though? I mean, they're literally a fucking iron fence around it and a guard post to get into Monroe High School.
She would have tipped it all
That's
the way
crazy,
in the
man.
opposite direction, and that would have been very bad for them. So Eli Honig is making that admission. let's see what Lawrence O'Donnell said. He was talking about this over on MSNBC as well. Let's see just.
I don't know how I ever never noticed that before.
Kind of, get a full spectrum of whack jobs out there. So here is him.
Beginning of this cross-examination of Stormy Daniels, which began on Tuesday, I had a perfect view of all of the jurors that entire time.
What happened?
None of them were
Lawrence?
taking notes at any time.
Oh.
That doesn't tell you anything really one way or the other, but there certainly was not a moment that they thought was worthy of, I want to make sure I make a memory of that. And today went very, very slowly, and it was a cross-examination today that was about an hour longer than it needed to be.
That they were obliterating her.
A full hour went by before Susan Nicholas actually went into that hotel room to get Stormy Daniels' testimony about what happened in that hotel room. And once you got to that hotel room, it was a matter of playing different quotes against
Why are we
her
crawling
over
here?
different times. So there was an interview she gave about this in 2011 that was constantly being brought up to her in Touch magazine. And the basic difference between what she said in that interview, which was I'd say, the most spare account of this whole thing, and the prosecutor on redirect pointed out that the article itself said that it was lightly edited.
Must have been a train or
This is an
something.
edited version of what Stormy Daniels
Did they
said.
edit it to change the entire facts? Did they create new facts that were different from her prior testimony? That's why they brought the article out. They said, you said this over here, and then you said this over here, so what changed? Yeah, I'm sure it was edited for
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
In there.
I'm sure it's pretty fire.
They change it from.
You're right, she does not hold back.
She didn't include every quote line, every single detail that she has included in her later accounts and in her testimony in this courtroom today. But what's also known about her testimony in the courtroom today is she did not include details that she has included elsewhere before because the defense didn't want those details included.
Okay, so the discrepancy was because the defense was objecting and keeping the details out. Okay, and that guy's an idiot too. All right, so here is, this is another one. A former Queens County Supreme Court judge went on CNN, really praised Trump's attorney, Susan Nicholas, for finding inconsistencies. Says, yeah, she did a great job. But she did. I mean, she was just, from what we were even able to see, it made it seem her stories changed. She had a ton of ulterior motives, money, fame. She was vindictive, okay, wanted this deal done. Even her own lawyers were saying she was a lunatic, like bullying people.
Oh, yeah.
Nuts. She's disgusting. 200 different videos. It's like everything that you would imagine would come out of having your star witness be a degenerate porn star came out. It's shocking, I know. Matthew Colangelo's like, how'd that happen? I wonder how this got all so away from me. And the judge too. They're all,
Well, what stood out to me is that Donald Trump's defense attorney cross-examining Stormy Daniels, Susan Nicholas, really did her homework. She did exactly what a good defense attorney is supposed to do. She looked at prior statements. She searched for inconsistencies, and she had some. In particular, there was a lot of questioning about Stormy Daniels giving an interview to some kind of a gossip magazine in 2011, where she appeared to allude to having dinner in the penthouse with Donald Trump at the time of the alleged event and the sexual encounter.
Well, dinner's not
she
actually
testified
dinner.
very clearly Tuesday on direct examination that there was no dinner. There was hours of conversation and no dinner. So,
dinner's not actually
a
dinner,
defense attorney's job is to try and expose inconsistencies like that to get the juries to start to think or possibly doubt, well, if you can't trust her on that kind of a detail,
Guess who's here?
what about the other details?
Leaf blower guy.
Just showed up.
Leaf blower
There
guy.
he is. It's leaf blower guy. Man, he's out there just blowing those leaves so good, and there are not going to be any leaves out there to be in our way, annoying us as we walk around and traverse the neighborhood. Leaf blower guy's in the house. We've been missing him a few times. I was wondering if the feds kind of got over us over here, Like, I'm like, what, they don't care about us anymore? Where's our federal agent leaf blower guy? He hasn't come around the last, I think, couple of Fridays, but he's back. All right. So, of course,
Yeah, I saw that.
on bad terms with the feds, so that's good. All right, so my friends, that is what's cooking over there. Let's see what you say. Who is joining us in the house? We'll get over to some Biden stuff, and we'll get that Carvo clip knocked out because, man, he's hot. But let's see who's joining us. It's a beautiful Friday. How are we doing, my friends?
All right, guys.
How is everything unfolding?
I will do my drive back out to Green Springs. Not sure whether or not I'm going to do it on the main channel or not. I think I will.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I can use play with Streamlabs some more.
Area of downtown Phoenix. It's a historic.
Love you guys.
Ton of trees,
Peace.
which is nice. That's why I like.
Should be 3 or 4-ish.
Lee Zeldin was on
I don't want
CNN last night, says KB. It was
Overwhelm this guy. Should be a little bit after 4, actually.
Yeah, another good clip.
Because I got to have him meet
Lee
people
Zeldin's
over
from
there,
New York,
too.
Right? What's up? We got Leaf